Welcome everybody into the storm. A second show in 1 week. Of course, you guys probably saw a little bit earlier if you're subscribers to the show. And speaking of that, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you share and put on your notifications. Let everybody know exactly what's going on. Follow us at Into the Storm with Ken Novitsky, because man, here's where we come. We talk life, culture, politics, a little bit of sports, and we also have some fun. And the reason why we're putting out two podcasts so close together is, number one, we actually have time. I'm not at work all week long. I don't come home. Usually I get into work between 6 and 6:30, get home usually around 5:30. And completely honest, by the time I get back home, I'm already gearing up for the next day to get the herd ready to get back out into the field and do their job. I don't have a lot of downtime. You're anybody who works hard for a living and gets up in the morning and puts that all out there and basically does go into the storm, you realize that, man, you got to get up and do it all over again tomorrow. But that's also what makes the United States great, and any great nation. The people that are willing to get their ass up out of bed, off the couch, go out and chase their American dream, no excuses, and figure it out. If you can do it, God bless you. There's a lot of opportunity out here, but if you can't, the hope is maybe one day you'll get your ass moving and get things going. Now, the reason why we're doing this, obviously, is because WTF, Minnesota. What is going on in Minnesota? Now, I've been here since 1989-90. I came up to play for Minnesota State University, the Fighting Mavericks, and I still to this day bleed purple and gold. I met my wife here, and I remember very vividly when we had the conversation on where we were going to settle. She wanted to go back home to Florida, but I fell in love with Minnesota. I fell in love with the people. Minnesota nice, the work ethic. Northern Minnesota still to this day is some of the most beautiful country in the entire world. It is heaven on earth. It just doesn't have mountains, which is what we're shooting for now. But right now, Minnesota is in a little bit of an influx. And it's all happened since I've been here. Now, for those of you who do not know, Novitsky, the last name on this YouTube channel, Into the Storm with Ken Novitsky, the Excellence in Podcasting Network, all became something from me running for office. About 5 years ago, I ran for office in a special election at the congressional level as a nobody. Zero. Nobody knew who I was, and I did it because I was frustrated going into homes with the job that I had of so many people, regular, middle class, minorities, the elderly, you name it. I would go into their houses for my job, and when I would present them with the solutions to their problems, it was very common for me to hear, especially the elderly, that's a little bit outside of our budget, man. We just don't have that. We live on a fixed income. Where the hell are we supposed to get this money? And being somebody who lived in Olmsted County, I realized our property taxes go up every single year. They want more and more money. And the people that we're putting in positions of power are also 100% more for taking your money, more of it. They never say no. They want more and more of your money. To hell with whether you're having problems, to hell whether you can't afford food or daycare or any of that stuff. They want more of your money, and then they want you to figure it out. And then they'll also say things like, but you know what? We'll help you out. We'll create programs that big, bloat, and bog things down, and then take your money that you can't afford to give, and then we'll give you a little kickback to some of that money so that you can, I don't know, put your kids in child age daycare. Sound familiar, doesn't it? How that works, but it's kind of funny because as they keep wanting more and more of your money wasn't going back up. And the cost of living was skyrocketing. The last 4 years prior to this new administration, inflation up 9%. Now it's at like 2.3%. But it was almost 10%. It's insanity what we've been going through for the last 5 years. Now, starting to make things change. Things are different. Here in the state of Minnesota, all the spotlights are on us right now for the very reason. Okay, I went from congressional running, finished about number 4 out of 10 candidates as a nobody. Brad Finstead eventually won, and I got to be honest, I got nothing to say bad about Brad Finstead. He doesn't get involved in all the nonsense. He's above the fray. He's delivering on the things he promises on, and of course the left can't stand him because he's not one of them. The far left is batshit crazy, and he's not one of them, so they can't stand him. And they want him to die, and they want him to have horrible problems and his family to suffer. That's what they do. But to be honest with you, as somebody who is a libertarian who's been endorsed 2 times by the Republican Party in Minnesota, very conservative, small government, want people out of our way, want safe streets, I want a secure border, I want our kids to be able to read, write, and do arithmetic. For me, I think he's doing a decent job. He's not setting the world on fire, but you know what? I think that he's doing everything that I would have probably done had I won that congressional race. Pulling the lever for the right things, and he's doing basically a blueprint of what I probably would have done. If you lined up the votes that he's voted on, I think we're probably 99% on the same page. So that's what you get there. Finished 4th there, dropped out, ran for state senate in an incredibly blue district, a redistricted blue district right here in Olmsted County. Was told I was going to lose by 20,000 votes. I think we ended up losing by, 7,000, 8,000 votes. It all becomes soup to me. And then this last go round, last November, not this November, last November, I ran for state house also against Kim Hicks here in District 25A. And you know what? Very blue district, pretty much knew we were going to have our hands full. We did everything we could. Great volunteers. I had money. We ran ads on TV, radio. We had billboards. I had 500 lawn signs out. We had an army of volunteers knocking on doors. But at the end of the day, the blue pill is so carved into Olmsted County now, which is crazy because 20 years ago, it wasn't like this. But when you get doctors and tech nerds moving into your city from the West and East Coast and they think they know better, they take good, conservative, wholesome living, no drama, safe streets, kids being able to read, do arithmetic, keeping your tax base low for the elderly and people on fixed incomes, and they turn that all upside down and they turn it into a complete and total shit show to where you don't have money, the streets are a mess, you got homeless people all over the damn place. That's starting to happen here. We're not Portland yet, but we're well on our way because, it's just a problem and it's not that easy to fix. Okay. And, of course, we just keep giving more and more of our money. So now what the hell's happening in Minnesota right now? As somebody that, like I said, is a libertarian at heart, the reason I got involved in politics and the reason this entire podcast exists is because this transferred over from my political career. Whether it was Congress, state house, state senate, it didn't matter. This is where it came to, and I wanted to keep the voice open. We have like 113 subscribers. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Like, follow along. It's common sense, common man, no bullshit, straightforward. This is what the problems are. Right now in the state of Minnesota, you've got people that are in positions of power that are incompetent. They have no idea what they're doing. They're not going to hold people accountable, and if you hold them accountable, they're going to call you a racist, an Islamophobe, or any other of the alphabet soup, which used to really mean something, but because of their constant diatribe in throwing it out there, they have cheapened these words and made them into something that mean basically nothing. Somebody calls you a racist now, I hope that you're not, because if you're like me and you were brought up down south, we didn't really give a shit about any of that race. It didn't matter. We were all just trying to get our ass to a place to where we could provide for families one day and be somebody. That was our whole goal. Black, white, Hispanic, we didn't care. Asian, we all went to Riverview High School, home of the Mighty Rams, and we just got on the boat and we started sailing. We did not care. We just did what we had to do. We went into the storm every day and figured out how we're going to get to college, how we're going to make mom and dad proud, how we're going to be winners in a society that is slowly sliding. We figure it out. We got it done. But at the end of the day, entirely different, okay? Entirely different culture. What's happening right now in the state of Minnesota, it went from being a very good, fiscally conservative, beautiful, clean state. And ever since Tim Walz and his administration has gotten in there, in the last 5 years, we have seen rampant crime. We've seen unbelievable carving off of different. They have literally made this state a race bait state. You're Islamophobic. You're what is it? Sexual phobic. You're homophobic. You're racist. If you don't agree with everything that this administration wants, and they'll come after you. They absolutely will come after you. If you point out any fraud, It didn't make any difference. Hell, in 2015, they were pointing this fraud out way back in the day. Way back in the day. And basically, it went nowhere. This is not anything new, guys. This is happening all over this republic, not just in Minnesota. But here in Minnesota, it's catching fire because it took a young man to go in there and do the job that the mainstream media, whether it be CNN, MS Now, ABC News, they refuse to do anything about it. Locally, Care 11, Fox, none of them. They didn't give a damn about any of it. As long as they were in lockstep with this administration, kept their mouths shut, nothing happened. And while that was happening, while I was running for office, we took an amazing surplus, okay? $18, $19 billion surplus. And in those 5 years under the Tim Walz administration is now about a $7 billion with a B deficit. $7 billion deficit from about a $19 billion surplus. So now you know why I was running. Have our social services gotten a lot better? No. Has child age daycare gotten any better? No, it really hasn't. Have my property taxes gone down? Absolutely not. They've gone up incredibly. Has my salary gotten better? No. Matter of fact, just got cut. At the end of the day, all you're seeing for all the hard work that you're putting in and busting your ass and getting up and going to work every single day, you're getting for it? Nothing. Higher taxes, less safe streets, more chaos at the Capitol. And while this is all happening, you're expected to keep your mouth shut, get in line, and keep on marching forward. That's why I ran for office. Now, the person I ran against was not knee deep in all this corruption. I don't know where the hell they're at, but I knew that there was something going on. You don't just go from 19 billion in the green to 6 billion in the red. With that, you would think we were living with gold paved streets and unbelievable, unrivaled services for us, the citizens of the great state of Minnesota. But no, we get a brand new flag that unfortunately looks an awful lot like the Somali flag. We got a whole bunch of legislation pushed through that we did not need. And there are certain groups that are benefiting greatly from. But those groups are not the elderly. Hell, they didn't even get rid of all their Social Security's tax. They got rid of most of the Social Security's tax. If you live in Minnesota, you're taxed out the ass nonstop. It doesn't stop. And they couldn't even get rid of the Social Security's tax on all elderly people in the state of Minnesota. It's all platitudes. It's all virtue signaling. It's all bullshit. And all your money that you're working so hard for, getting your ass up and going to work, you've got places that don't even have a person sitting in the building receiving $100,000 a month for something that they're not only not doing, they're blatantly not doing it in your face. In your face. And instead of our governor or the attorney general stepping up and saying, hey, we got to get this under control. This is not acceptable. You guys work too hard. Your families are struggling. Got to get that food on the table. Your rent's due. We got to get this under control because your dollars mean a lot to us. They don't say shit. They keep their mouths shut and they just kept shoveling your dollars into that furnace. And God only knows where it's going. Whether it's going to a terrorist group overseas or it's going to some dude sitting on his couch in an 8-bedroom mansion that doesn't have a job, has been in the country for 3 years, drives a brand new Mercedes while you're out busting your ass trying to just keep your 2010 Ford Explorer on the road. They don't care. Doesn't matter to them. They don't give a shit. So thank God that this is all coming to fruition. Because as somebody that has not only walked in circles of politicians, dealt with the numbers ad nauseum with these numbers, got into it, argued, debated, sat at round tables with these people on the other side that knew so much, and look at where we are. They knew all the answers. They told the Republicans, you guys just shut up and be quiet. We got this. They wouldn't even let the Republicans draft little caveats in these bills. For the last 5 years, they've been doing whatever the hell they want. The Republicans don't have shit to say. And now guess what? We got all of this rampant crime. They're saying it could be up to $9 billion. Billion. Not 100 million. $9 billion. Do you know what the GDP of the country of Somalia is? It's about $12 billion. $12 billion. So let's say, hypothetically, that the Trump administration, Department of Homeland Security, all of these companies or all these government entities get in here and they put an end to the rampant fraud. Not just in Minnesota. It's in Michigan. It's in Wisconsin. It's in Washington State. It's all over the place because it is a blueprint that has worked well. It is a blueprint that has worked well. Whether it's autism, healthcare, child age daycare, man, it is a program that has worked well, and millions, and in this case, sadly, billions of your hard-earned tax dollars are nowhere to be seen because they sure as hell ain't in your pocket, but they are not in the state of Minnesota's pocket either. They're gone. Okay, so this money is going to lead to somewhere. I just pray to the good Lord above that it leads to the people that need to be punished, and then they're held accountable. I hope and pray to God that they're held accountable. This is not fair for elderly people that are scared about losing homes that they've had for 30 or 40 years. To have to sit back and worry about another property tax increase or higher sales tax or who the hell else knows what they're going to, or another damn thing on the docket for a specialized school that's going to cost your district another $8 million. And we're just going to put that on. It's only a 2% tax increase. Dude, it's all there. Between state, local, national, federal taxes, you're probably at about 55% right now, which is utterly ridiculous. Our forefathers never would have put up with this shit. And that's why I ran, and that's why I ran, and that's why I ran. Because somebody needs to step up and say, no, enough. Because we can't do whatever the hell we want. We got to work. Get our ass up, punch in, do the grind, go into the storm every single day, provide for our families as best we can. It's not always easy. A lot of times you're on the verge of tears trying to figure out how you can make things work. Hell, we just got a bill for our car, $4,000+ to get something fixed. We're blessed. We're going to be able to afford it, but it's a huge hit to us. But what if I was 65 and retired and I have $4,000 in my savings account? What am I going to do? And that's how we need to start thinking. What are we supposed to do for those that cannot any longer, have done nothing wrong? They've lived their life right. They saved what they could save and are now being taxed into oblivion because their retirement portfolios went to shit because they're given 35 or 40% more than they ever anticipated they would have to. What do we do? What do we do with minority families that are working so hard, can't afford things? The gas prices in Olmsted County, because of our leadership here, which, I mean, I got to be honest, it's kind of sad. 15, 20 cents more than any surrounding community because they got to have that gas tax. Even though your gas prices are going down, they're still 15 to 20 cents higher per gallon right here in Olmsted County. Not acceptable. Our kids aren't that great in school. They're okay, but they're not that great. Streets, they're okay, but they're not what they were 20 years ago. And sadly, you probably say that across the board everywhere. But right here in this blue district, they're not even close to what they used to be. Crime, break-ins, taxes, illiteracy, it's all here. And it's on the rise. Camps being set up in our medians along the river downtown. It's not uncommon to see a tent somewhere, cardboard boxes. In the number one, arguably, best medical city in the entire world, you got that shit on the side because of poor leadership, indecisive leadership, leadership that chooses to virtue signal and use platitudes as opposed to getting the damn job done and holding people accountable. That's what you get. When you don't emphasize policing, you emphasize virtue signaling. There's a reason why for the last 2 offices I ran for, I was endorsed by the MPPOA. And it's because they don't get the support they need. And because they don't get the support they need, our streets aren't as safe as they need to be. There's a whole bunch of excuses why. But I got news for you. Every single person that sits on the city council and in the office of the mayor have gotten pay raises. Yeah, in the last 5 years, no doubt. And substantial ones. They went from being servants of the public that did make a little stipend here and there to making money that if you're not a total and complete moron, you can live off of. You don't even need to have another job. You can be a bureaucrat. And that's what you get. And because we live in such a blue polarized city, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change because blue votes for blue no matter what. No matter how bad it is, no matter how bad that free cheese tastes or gets moldy and aged, they continue to vote for the most hideous, disgusting things possible. And they do so on a big pile of virtue. And they don't look back. Okay? I hear often, oh, Trump's numbers are in the toilet or his popularity is going down. And I can say this without question. Take Trump, leave Trump. Don't care. But I voted for President Trump. Absolutely, because I wanted a secure border. I wanted our streets to be safer. Okay? And I wanted us to try to stop all of the bullshit all the way around. Get the GDP on track, get our inflation under control, and all of those things that I voted for have happened. And you keep hearing, well, these people regret this or these people regret that. The funny thing about that is, and I'll let you in on a little secret, I hang out with a lot of people. I hang out with a lot more Trump supporters than not, as you can imagine. And that's fine. I don't dislike my liberal friends, but none of the people that I hang out with that voted for Trump regret it in the least. Now, you take it at your face value. Oh, his popularity's this, or it's going down, or his approval rating's going down. Say that shit all you want. All you want. As serious as a heart attack, I'm sitting here telling you, nobody that I know that voted for President Trump regrets it. As a matter of fact, most of them are ecstatic and they want him to do even more. Not only do they want to keep the foot on the gas, they want him to floor that damn thing to the floorboards and drive this thing all the way through to the end. So you guys do whatever you want. You hope and pray on it, do your thing, jump up and down, piss your pants, throw temper tantrums, get in people's way, do all this stuff, stop traffic, ruin art, do all those things you want. It ain't changing anything. As a matter of fact, people that are in the middle that are looking at you people acting like that are going, dude, what the hell's wrong with these people? Who raised them? I mean, this is what their mom and dad expected? Is this what the liberal colleges and their professors, this is what you spent all that money for, to be treated like this? It's common sense. And I'll tell you what, here on Into the Storm, we talk politics, we talk sports, we talk culture, we talk life. And right now what's happening in the state of Minnesota is disgraceful. And there's not going to be a lot of pretty pictures being put up on my shoulder and stuff like that on this video, as you probably noticed. But at the end of the day, what's happening in Minnesota is happening everywhere. It might not be at this same level, but if you live in a blue state, there's corruption. And it's taking your hard-earned dollars and flushing it down the toilet or shoveling it in suitcases to be taken overseas to do God only knows what with. That's your money. That's my money. And I ain't got no problem with paying taxes. Like I said, I want a secure border. I want safe streets. I want our kids to be able to read, write, and do arithmetic. And I want the truly injured among us, those that have special needs, to be taken care of in a respectable manner. But I don't want freeloaders. I don't want bullshit artists. I don't want virtue signalers. I want hardworking people with solutions to move the ball down the damn field so we can ultimately score and win. I'm not looking for Tim Walz and all these other doofuses that are up here to continuously point the finger at Trump. What has Trump got to do with Somali-run businesses in downtown Minneapolis and Hennepin County and all over the state that are taking money for doing something that they're saying they're doing and they're not? What does that have to do with Rubio or Kristi Noem or Donald Trump? It's all bullshit. Real leaders don't do that. They solve problems and they fix things. We don't have that in St. Paul. We've got a bunch of platitudes, virtue signalers, weak people that don't have any direction, and they're out there right now in full force trying to deflect what they have created. This is an unacceptable situation. It's untenable in the state of Minnesota, and it is something that should never have happened. And us as taxpayers, whether you are black, Hispanic, Asian, white, male, female, gay, straight, is unfair to you. It's not fair to you. There are people that genuinely need help, and as a society and as a republic, we have notoriously and historically helped them. But there's also people here that are taking advantage of us. And it's not just the Somali community. Give me a break. I've got friends that are Somali, and they're very good people. But the people that the spotlight is on right now, up to possibly $9 billion, is all done with autism, special learning and education, health, child age daycare, and they're fleecing the system. And it's our fault that we let those loopholes get in there to where people could come here from all over the world and just start taking our hard-earned tax dollars. You know, the story about the stairway at Ellis Island. If you couldn't get your ass up those stairs to the top and not be completely winded, it was told, whether it's an old wives' tale or not, I'm not quite sure. It didn't come through Ellis Island. My great-great-grandparents said that you would have to get your ass back on the boat and go back to where you came from because you were incapable of caring for yourself and you would become a burden on our society. So it was merit-based. If you were going to come here, you had to be able to provide for yourself, be an upstanding citizen, had to assimilate. Assimilation. Be a part of the greatest republic known to man. And then you could go chase your American dream. Assimilation. You know, we settled this land. You know, we're a nation of immigrants. No, we're a nation of settlers. We settled this land. And because of the Constitution, that beautiful articles that were written way back, 1776, the United States of America, we have allowed 1 million people a year to come in here legally. And we used to scrutinize them a lot more. We need to get back to that because it's our choice. When you work hard, to the victor goes the spoils. We shouldn't just be letting anybody in here. We shouldn't allow these ridiculous asylum laws. We shouldn't be allowing people to take advantage of us, taking resources away from the people in our great republic that need the help. The truly downtrodden and poor, people with special needs, the elderly, they should come before any of this other bullshit. And I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. We should take care of our own first. That's my take on Into the Storm with Ken Nowitzki. I love you guys, man. Like, subscribe, share. Nobody special. I get up every single morning and I worry about all the same things that a lot of people here worry about. Money. Am I going to be around tomorrow? My health, my kids. Man, I worry about my kids. Man. We live in one of the only places on this planet where we actually still have an opportunity to maintain something truly special. I feel so incredibly blessed to be from right here in this country. And when I pray at night, I thank the Lord for allowing me the awesome opportunity to be born when I was, right here. And I understand the need and want for people to come from all of those nations around the world to this shining light on the hill. I get that. But we need to be much more selective on who we let in. Our generosity needs to know bounds. And we also have to encourage people to stay where you're at and fight to fix the areas where you are. Because the people that created this republic were not amazingly overly intelligent men. They were farmers. They were, at the time, bureaucrats. They were townsmen. They were generals. They figured this out. But it wasn't because their IQ was so high. It's because they knew they weren't going to be perfect. And they created areas where the nation could grow. And that was the whole concept. They weren't perfect individuals, but they were hardworking and they knew that they could truly create something special. Not by getting in the way, but by getting out of the way of the American people. And here we are. Today, we are still a very prosperous, the most prosperous republic nation on the planet. Blessed 10 times over by the good Lord. We cannot lose what brought us here. And remember, if you continuously bring something from another place to the place where you are, eventually the place where you are is going to become the place where you brought everything from. And that goes with people, cultures, tchotchkes, doesn't matter. That's what you've got. So don't think that it's an endless flow where you can take care of all of the world's poverty, bring it into the United States, and we're somehow magically going to be able to fix all of that. It doesn't happen that way. So either be thankful for what you have and do the best that you can to provide for you and your family, or continue to do what you're doing, and you will see more and more of the scourge and disgusting behavior that we're seeing right now all over the place. We're very fortunate to be a first world nation. We cannot take all of the third world problems into our first world nation and be shocked when our first world nation becomes a third world. It's happening over in Europe right now. Do not let it happen here in your republic. Man, oh man, I love you guys. I know, I just wanted to get out there in front of this and let everybody know, yeah, I've been in Minnesota for a long time, 25, 26 years. It's not pretty right now. But Minnesota is still a very beautiful state. We've got amazing people. And I have faith that we will continue to do ourselves right. When these investigations come through, people are prosecuted, and the truth comes out. I just want people, whether you're right, left, center, to understand. It might not be a red or blue issue. It's a right or wrong issue. And it always amazes me, my friends that are Democrats, that they're willing to put up with so much of this type of behavior. The crime in the streets, the rampant homelessness, the wasting of billions of tax dollars, the basically getting shit on by not only your government, but by people that should be ecstatic to be here and should be the most perfect citizens. And they just continuously say, screw you, screw Donald Trump, I can't stand him. And they vote to continue to push our republic down. And I don't get it. But it's there. So let's hope that enough people have clear minds, clear hearts, and they realize there is a difference between good and bad. Donald Trump is not the big problem. The problem is common sense. And we need to wake more people up on the common sense side. Secure borders, safe streets, smart children, and our culture. The most successful culture in the history of the world being put on the forefront. Love you guys. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great Christmas. Into the Storm with Ken Nowitzki. God bless each and every one of you guys. And remember, you get your ass up no matter what. Whether you got another hour to live, another day, week, month, year, and you go into the storm every single day. And that way, when you stand before your Creator, you're going to be able to say, I did everything I can. I did everything I could to provide for my family, my community, and to make things better. Love you guys. God bless. Like, subscribe, share. The Excellence in Podcasting Network. I'm Ken Nowitzki, and this has been Into the Storm.